Welcome back to the messy garden. It has been a little while since I've posted anything on here, hasn't it? Last year kind of got away from us. 2025 just really got away from us. We had a lot of projects on the go, and the garden always ends up kind of like being at the bottom of the priority pile, and so I'll be honest, I kind of let the garden go towards the end of last year. It's kind of a mess out there. I'll take you guys around and let you have a little look in a minute, but yeah, it just kind of like slid off of the priority list, and then obviously videos weren't happening because I wasn't doing much out here. But hopefully this year will be a little bit different. We've not got too many big projects to do this summer. I've got some projects to do, but they're not massive ones. Hopefully they won't take up too much time. And obviously this year we've got the bulk of the work in the garden done, like all the raised beds are done, ready to go. We built all of those last summer. They're pretty much finished. I've got a little bit of jiggling and finishing off little bits and bobs to do here and there, but for the most part I can just crack on and plant stuff. The biggest thing I've got to sort out is sourcing some compost, topsoil, anything like that really, just to top the beds up because they've really sunk down over the winter. But other than that, like, the infrastructure's here now, like, we're good to go play with seeds and grow tasty things again, which I'm really excited about because it's been a couple of years since I've had a good garden year, and I feel like this year is going to be a really good garden year. So I'm kind of in a weird place in my greenhouse at the moment. So this side behind me is kind of leftovers from last year. Leftover peppers. I was going to take some seeds out of these. I've literally just let them dry on the plants. I didn't even get around to harvesting them all and using half of them. Like, we've got a basket of fire chilies back here. To be fair, I could probably take those off of the plant and just put them in a jar. Like, they're completely dry now. I could probably just put those in a jar and they'll store for quite a while. I've done that before with chilies. Like, I've dried them in the greenhouse or in the windowsill, shove them in the jar when they're like completely dry, and they keep for ages. So I might do that with those because I have got a bit of a taste for chilies over the last couple of years. I don't know where that's come from, but it's fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. So we'll make use of those. The rest of them I'll probably just pull a few seeds out of and get rid of the rest of them. So yeah, that side's kind of leftovers from last year. I've done a little bit of tidying, but not an awful lot. Like, it's not horrendous in here, but it definitely needs work. There's always room for more tidying in my world because I am, well, there's a reason I've called this channel The Messy Garden. There's a reason I changed the name, because I am a messy gardener. But anyway, on this side next to me here, I've actually got a few trays of seedlings on the go. I've been trying to be sensible and not do too much too early and not get carried away. We've just got our first few seedlings starting to come up now. We've got some leeks in here. I've got some beetroot, got some Brussels sprouts starting to come up, and I did put some lettuce in the end here, but I can see a little bit of greenery coming up now. I wasn't sure if they were going to come up. It was quite old seed, so I'm happy to see that they're coming up now. And I've got a few more brassicas over this side. We've got some kohlrabi coming up, and I've done some cabbages and some cauliflowers, and they need watering. So I'm actually using a spray bottle to water my garden this year, because I have a really bad habit of overwatering everything. I've got one of these in the house as well. So I've got a small tray set up in the house. I put a short up of that the other day, so you guys have seen that already. With my peppers in it, I'm going to start my tomatoes in the next few days. I've got a spray water bottle to discourage overwatering, because I am an absolute nightmare for overwatering my plants. It's so bad. And doing it this way, at least at the moment, at this time of year, when they don't need an awful lot of water, because it's not getting overly hot in here. In the summer, I'll probably have to go back to using like a watering can or a hose or whatever, because it will get really hot and they'll get really thirsty. But for the time being, this has been working really well. I don't know why I didn't do this before. I think I saw it on Instagram somewhere. I think it was like a common mistakes with seedlings post, and one of the most common mistakes was listed as like vigorously watering your seedlings and like knocking them about when they're in a really fragile state. But actually it's worked out beneficial for me, like I said, because I have a bad habit of overwatering, and by doing this, they're getting enough, but I'm not drowning them. And so far, I haven't had horribly soggy compost or like rotting, I can't remember what it's called, damping off, is it? Where your seedlings basically just end up rotting because they've been overwatered. Haven't had any of that yet. Fingers crossed I don't get any of it, so that's working really well for me. So yeah, that's my couple of seed trays so far. Like I said, I'm trying to behave myself. I'm trying not to start too much too soon. I have a planting calendar. I don't currently have any with me, but I've actually completely reorganised my seed collection. I probably could do with reorganising it again, to be fair, because I've got quite a lot of fairly old seed in there, and germination rates have not been great with some stuff. Like I said, that lettuce that I put in, the germination rates have not been very good. So I might have to bite the bullet and just chuck some of that stuff. I don't like chucking seeds away because, like, one of the very first gardening channels I ever came across, I fell on a hole, was Roots and Refuge Farm. I stumbled across Jessica years ago when I was looking for advice on growing tomatoes. And she always says, like, seeds don't have an expiration date. And they don't really. Like, you can abuse them. Like, I have a bad habit of leaving my seeds in the greenhouse and then they get cooked and then they're useless. So I'll do stupid things like that. But for the most part, they do last a long time, like a lot longer than they say on the seed packet. And so I really do hate throwing them away. But as I was sorting through them the other day, I realised I have got packets that are like 5-6 years old, and the germination rates just really are not great when they get that old. Like, I think I have to accept the fact that maybe I've held on to them for a little bit too long, and it might be time to get rid of them and start afresh. I mean, I won't get rid of them as in throw them away. What I'll probably do, depending on what they are, like anything that's like leafy, any brassicas, any leafy things like that, I'll just chuck them in and do like microgreens trays, and like what comes up comes up. Like, I'll start really, really heavy. And other stuff, I don't know, maybe I'll just pick like a sacrifice patch over under the trees or something and just chuck it all down and see what comes up. That could be a fun little experiment. I like doing stuff like that. I like just getting a handful of seeds and going, haha, and then seeing what happens in a few months is really fun. I shouldn't do it because it's a waste of space and it's not productive, but it amuses me for some reason. But yeah, anyway, got a bit sidetracked there, didn't I? My seed collection has been reorganised into month categories, as in the month that I want to plant them in. So previously I'd sorted them into like varieties, like radishes, cabbages, kales, tomatoes, peppers, etc, etc. And because I've got quite a lot of them now, because I am like a magpie when it comes to seeds, I was finding it a little bit overwhelming trying to figure out what to plant and when to plant it, and which varieties of whatever vegetable were good for the beginning of the season, and then which ones are going to be main, etc, etc. And a lot of the seed packets I've got don't have planting information on them, so a lot of the websites I've been buying from, they don't give out planting information on the packets. You have to actually go on the website to find the information, and I'm going to try and like move away from that. So the reason I was doing that was because they were cheaper, but actually I've realised that I'm buying those bigger packets. Yes, it works out cheaper, I'm getting more seeds for my money, but like for the scale I'm growing on, I'm never going to need that many seeds. So I've actually realised I'd rather pay and have less seeds but have the information on the packet, if that makes sense. So I don't need the amount of seeds I was getting in those packets, basically. So that's my plan going forward. I'm going to get the packets with information on them, pay a little bit more for a little bit less seed. I think that will work out better for me. And yeah, I said I was just getting really, really overwhelmed with not really knowing what to plant and when to plant it exactly, like when it came down to different varieties. So I've spent a few evenings going through, and I've got a box for every month of the year now, January through to December. Obviously there's very little in January and December boxes because so much point really, other than a bit of lettuce and odd little bits like that. And I've now got all of my seeds sorted out. I've gone through and I've googled them and I've researched every variety I've got, when the optimal time is to plant them, I've sorted them all out, and I'm really, really excited because it's all ready in front of me now. I've just got to grab my box for February or March or whatever month I want, and everything in there I know is good to plant for that month. So that's going to be really, really helpful. I'm really looking forward to that. And I just have to be a sensible girl now and not get overexcited and not plant too much and not get carried away and start taking things out of the wrong boxes and planting them when they shouldn't be planted. So yeah, I'm doing good so far. I've just started a few brassicas, a few bits of salad, and I kind of done some radishes in here. I've had to put some slug pellets down because something has been coming in here and having an absolute feast, and it wasn't me. But yeah, I've got radishes on this side, and on this side I've got like really mixed leafy greens. Oh look, there's a little onion in there as well. I think I chucked some chives in here as well. Like basically just like mixed salad stuff and radishes. I sowed it really, really heavy, and as you can see, very, very little has come up. Very, very little. I'm quite disappointed with that actually. I've put 2 lots of seed down here now, and still very, very little coming up. And it's not a temperature issue, it's not a moisture issue. Again, like I said, it is just down to the fact that I've been sitting on seed for too many years, and I think some of it is just a little bit past it at this point, but it's fine. I'm going to give it another week or so because we're getting quite a lot of sun now. So anything that's in there should definitely be germinating in this weather we're having now. We've had a few really nice days. So I'll give it another week, see what else comes up. And if nothing else comes up, I'm just going to chuck some more seeds in there. I have a habit of doing this, and then what inevitably happens is the original seed that I put down like 2 months prior suddenly decides to germinate, and then I end up with way too much stuff crammed in a small space, but we'll see. I mean, so far I've got 3 radishes. I did have 4. I had a very, very large one down here, which something nipped off at ground level, which I was very sad about. So yeah, I've got three sad little radishes. And I've got a chive or onion, whatever that is there, and I've got a few little bits of lettuce. It's not an awful lot, really. I suppose, looking at it now, actually, what I could do, what would probably be the more responsible thing to do rather than chucking more seed in there, would be to kind of like redistribute what has germinated and give it a bit more space rather than... So my plan was to have kind of like cut and grow again lettuce in here until the weather warms up enough for me to plant peppers in this later in the year. It might be more sensible, rather than chucking more seed in there, to just redistribute the plants that have germinated and just let them grow a bit bigger. That's probably a sensible thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, I might do that. Anyway, yeah, that's everything I've got going on in the greenhouse for now. Other than that, it's just kind of... Oh, I got way too quick then, ow! Other than that, it's kind of a mess in here. Outside isn't much better. Take you guys out and let you have a quick look. There's not an awful lot going on out there at the moment. I need to clean my greenhouse as well. Look how filthy and disgusting it is. It's so mean. It's like there's been no opportunity over this winter to do stuff like this because the weather has been so gross, but finally getting a little bit of a break now, and I'm getting that urge to just get outside and get stuff done. So let's go and have a little walk and I'll show you what we've got going on. The very small amount that I've got going on. So over this side, I'm having a little bit of a jiggle around of some stuff. So over here, obviously we had our rhubarb last year. That's going to be staying where I had it. Yeah, I don't really want to move this again if I can help it, because we have moved this poor rhubarb so many times, and I feel like I just want to leave it alone to recover for a few years. So this is my granddad's rhubarb. This is our favourite rhubarb. This is our special rhubarb. This is the best rhubarb as well. Outshines the others by a clear mile. So this is already coming up. It's looking quite well. I'm quite happy with how that's looking. So I really heavily mulched this at the end of the year. Again, I've got a bit of a problem where the soil has sunk down quite a lot, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that yet. I need to think. I mean, obviously I can top the soil up around the rhubarb, but then I'm going to end up with the rhubarb in a crater. If anyone's got any suggestions on that, actually, that would be quite useful. Is there a way that I can like raise the level in the bed without leaving the rhubarb in a crater, but also without having to dig it up and lift it out and then put it back in when I put more soil in? Like, is there a workaround for that, or am I just going to have to dig it up and fill the bed back up and then put it back in? which I can do. I can do that next year. I'm not going to dig it up now because it starts growing, but if there's any other ideas of how I could do that, that would be appreciated, because I'm a bit stumped on that one. But yeah, this one's coming up. It's starting to look really good. And we've got one of these ones over here. I can't remember what variety these were. I think I bought them in Tesco's or something, but they've really not done as well as this one. Now, admittedly, this one is kind of like a heritage variety. I have no idea how old it is. It's been moved from so many different houses with us now. So it is very well established, whereas these are much younger plants. But yeah, they've just really not done as well as this old-fashioned one. I think, you know, that variety is just better than the newer ones I bought. And I did have another one over here, but unfortunately, I think it's actually given up this year. I see nothing coming up at all. This one did struggle really, really badly, so maybe it's done. Which is a pity, but I'll just get another one in there, it's fine, it's not a problem. And I have got my asparagus in here as well, which I haven't seen coming up yet. I don't know if it's maybe a little bit too early, or if maybe I've overly mulched it, like put too much mulch down, I don't know. Sorry, I can't get my words out there, can I? But yeah, I'm not seeing any signs of that coming up anywhere. This is obviously where the plant was, but I don't know, we'll see. Once again, I'm being impatient, aren't I? I'm rummaging around looking for things, probably disturbing things that just really need to be left alone. So the bed next to it over here, this one, I'm actually turning into the herb bed. So we had potatoes in here last year. I've got my fig tree up here as well, which I still have not picked a house for. So I don't know where I'm going to keep that. But yeah, I've decided to move the herbs over here. And we've turned our seat around. So that was like the back was against here before. We've rotated that around. I don't know why we didn't think to do that in the first place. Like, me and Mum were just looking at it one day and she was like, why don't we turn it around the other way? And I was like, oh yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Why didn't we do that in the first place? So that looks so much better there now. And yeah, we're going to try and keep that like that. And then we're going to have all of our herbs along here instead of potatoes, which I think is going to be really, really nice. It's going to be nice to sit next to it. And part of the idea behind that is because I've still got this idea, this vision in my head that I want to be able to have like a seating area and a barbecue and like an eating area over here, with like everything over here that we can just grab stuff out of the garden and chuck it straight on the barbecue kind of thing, like tomatoes straight off the vine onto the barbecue. And then we'll have all of our herbs next to our seating stroke food prep area that we can just grab off and cook with. It's kind of the idea. I've been wanting to do that for so long and I've never quite pulled it off. I keep trying to do like corn on the cob and still not pulled that off. Just noticed something really annoying actually. That right there looks like a rodent hole, which is frustrating. Oh, I mean, me burying it isn't going to do anything, but it's so frustrating. It's one of the biggest problems I have here. It's obviously because we've got horses, we're in a rural area. I need cats. I really, really need cats again. That's what I need. I need some farmyard kitty cats to do me a service. I'm not sure what this is, but it's got seeds on it, so let's be reckless and oh dear. So yes, anyway, this is going to be that's going to be lovely. Like I said, I need to get a lot more compost. I was buying individual bags. I was buying topsoil and compost from the local garden centre, and I very quickly realised that was not cost effective. And so I've pumped the brakes on that for now. I need to get some like big builder's sacks of compost in to finish that off. And also to fill all the rest of these up again, because as you can see, they have sunk massively. So this one here, I actually topped this one up towards the end of last year. So these have overwintered out. I planted these about November. So we've got some kohlrabi here and a few onions and garlic. And I topped this bed up to about halfway up that panel. So probably to about here I topped it up to. And yeah, it's really, really sunk back down. I can hear something banging. I'm worried one of my horses is doing something it shouldn't be doing. One sec. Okay, I think it was Alan trying to open Nellie's gate. He is being a little terror at the moment. Was that you banging on the gate, Alan? Was that you? You're being sassy. I think it was him. I think it was him. I think he was trying to get into Nellie's bedroom. He is obsessed with trying to get in there at the moment. Anyway, yes, so that bed is usable but needs work. Obviously it needs topping up a lot more again. And these beds, I've kind of just been topping up with stuff that I had lying around, with bits of junk, basically. I mean, I say junk, I'm trying to reuse like compostable materials. So any like scraggly bits of hay or rotten hay that we've had, instead of taking it and putting it on the muck heap all the way up there, I've been like, well, I'll just chuck it straight in the beds and it can compost down over here. And I've been putting in any cardboard we've got in here as well. Just trying to like top them up a little bit, but obviously I need to get some more topsoil in here. I don't know if I want to put any more manure in here from the muck heap. I feel like because I've got it here, because it's like an abundant resource for us, I feel like I overuse it, and some of the things that I'm trying to grow don't appreciate that much manure, like the root vegetables especially. It's great for the tomatoes, great for the pumpkins, but I don't know, I'm trying to think now about where I'm going to plant stuff this year, because I am trying to be a little bit more organised. I want to try and get away from the whole chaos garden vibe, but I really struggle with that, to be honest with you. So yeah, I need to have a think about what I want to put where, and maybe wherever I'm going to put squashes and tomatoes, like really hungry nitrogen things that thrive in nitrogen, I can top that up with a load of our manure. And then maybe the other beds, like wherever I'm going to put root vegetables, maybe I should just wait if I can, because again, I'm a very impatient person, and maybe top it up with some topsoil instead. But yeah, I'm still kind of like thinking about where I'm going to put stuff at the moment. So we had mixed success out of the different beds last year. So we get shade cast over this end of the garden, and this, as you go further this way, you're obviously in more and more sun. And I found that the stuff at this end was getting cooked alive, basically. It was way too hot for it. So whatever goes at this end needs to be kind of like heat loving. And the stuff at this end wasn't quite getting enough sun. Like these two beds in the middle seem to do the best. And so I'm trying to figure out where to put stuff. Like I said, I need sun-loving stuff where it's going to be really sunny, and like shade-loving stuff at this end. So I'm thinking probably like brassicas, potatoes, like cooler weather stuff can go this end. And then I can put like maybe tomatoes down the other end, like the sun-loving things, like down there, and they can bask up all that sun and make the most of it. So I am trying to be a bit more strategic. But then again, I always try to be a bit more strategic, and then I either time things wrong, or life comes along and gets in the way and muddles up my routine, and any number of things, any number of distractions comes along, and then I inevitably get to a point where I'm like, well, I'm just going to chuck that here and that there and hope for the best. We're going to try not to do that this year though. So yeah, that's what we've got going on with the garden bed. That one over the end there, I'm not quite sure if it's going to stay there yet. It's just kind of filled with old bean canes at the moment, and got some flowers under the apple trees. We were debating possibly moving these fruit trees, but I'm not sure just yet. Need to figure that one out. There's a lot we're trying to figure out with the garden this year, and yeah, this has become kind of like the dumping ground. So obviously we've got last year's trellises that have well and truly given up the game at this point. That was a grape plant, or at least I think it was a grape plant. It wasn't very good. Oh, actually it is budding this year. We have got buds on it, so maybe there's hope for that. That's given me hope now. We'll have another go with that. And yeah, I've just kind of like got a load of junk dumped over here. I need to have a big bonfire, but it's been far too wet for that. And yeah, so everything's just been kind of like chucked over here, but I'm not quite sure again what I want to do with this area. I've moved a couple of these here, which I like. I like those there. That pleases me. Oh, you have to excuse the dog turds. My dogs like to sneak in here in the morning when I'm getting hay nets out and just deposit turds everywhere. And I don't notice it because I'm not spending much time out here at the moment. And then I'm walking around and I'm like, oh, there's a nice big furry turd that I almost stood in. It's lovely, isn't it? Absolutely lovely. But anyway, I'm liking having those beds there. This, I think I'm happy with this now. It felt a bit cluttered at first. Obviously that won't stay there. It did feel a little bit cluttered, but I think I like this now. And I'm thinking maybe I'm going to put mint and lemon balm in here. And originally I was going to put the fig tree in that one, but I'm not 100% sure now because we're going to be rejiggling some of the fence lines out in the paddocks. And I'm trying to avoid putting another tree somewhere where horses can potentially reach over and eat it, because our horses have zero self-control. And they won't just lean over and have a nibble on it, they'll lean over and pull it up by its roots because they're little monsters. So I'm on the fence about that one at the moment. This might all end up being herbs or perennials, I'm not quite sure yet. Possibly we could put our blueberries over here. We want to have another go with growing some blueberries. I've not had much success with them yet. But maybe we could turn this into a blueberry bed. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. And yeah, we're kind of like back over to the rhubarb now. And I've got a little table behind me here, which, just don't look at it. It needs filthy. It's disgusting. I just abandoned it when the weather turned, I'll be honest. The plan for that is that we're going to put grow bags on there this year. And we're going to put our strawberries over there. So we're hoping that by doing it like that, we might actually get to enjoy some of our strawberries this year instead of the rats eating them all, because again, we have a real problem with rodents. I knocked something over, whoopsie. Yeah, we have such a big problem with rodents, and trying to keep them away from stuff so that it actually gets a chance to grow to a point that we can harvest it and enjoy it is really, really difficult. Again, if anyone's got any advice on that, other than the obvious, you know, tidy everything up, which I'm painfully aware of. In my defense, it's the middle of winter and we're in the middle of sorting stuff out, so it will be cleared. I'm very mindful of keeping clutter off the ground. That's going to be a really big priority this year, is to just keep everything super, super clean in here. Like, once everything's got its home and everything's got a place, I don't want any clutter on the ground. I don't want any tarps on the ground. Like, I want no ground cover for them at all. All of our waste goes over onto the muck heap, so there's no like temptation like that in here. They literally just come in here and take the food off of our plants because they're little monsters. So yeah, we put bait boxes out, but if there's any other suggestions people have got other than getting a cat, which would be ideal, but I don't feel like I'm ready to deal with another cat just yet. I don't know, I have to think about that one. I don't know, maybe this is the year to get a cat again. Maybe I should just... It has to be a couple of cats though, I can't just get one. It would have to be a couple of cats. I keep thinking it'd be nice to get a couple of like feral barn cats. Yeah, I need to seriously think about it, because we have been struggling since Billy. Billy was our old cat. Since Billy died, we've really been struggling with rodents, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. The only other thing I've got that I forgot to show you was some accidental tomatoes. So I reused some compost. That was the first tray I took home to start my peppers in, and I reused a load of compost, and it turns out it was full of seed that I didn't know about. So I had it sat in the house where it warmed up for a couple of days, and all of a sudden all these tomato seedlings popped up. And I didn't really want them yet, and I don't know what they are. And so I kind of like just brought them back down here to let them fend for themselves, because I don't know what variety they are, and I'm not ready for tomato. What? Now I'm thinking about starting tomatoes, but when they germinated, I didn't really want them, and I didn't want them taking up the space. And to be fair, a few of them are still going. Like, if it freezes, if we get a late frost, they're probably going to die. I mean, I can put one of the covers back over them if they're not too big, or I can shove them under the frost fleece that I've got in here. But they probably won't survive a frost out here, even in the greenhouse. It doesn't stay that much warmer in here than it does outside. Like, it's fine for cool weather crops, but it's no good for stuff like this. And I am not going through the horror of trying to heat this greenhouse again. I'm done with that. I can't even remember what it was. Paraffin heater I had, that was an absolute nightmare. It kept, I mean, I can see soot on the wall still. See all that black stuff there? That is leftover residue from the paraffin heater that I had in here last year. Like, it was a good idea, but in practice, it was an absolute nightmare. So I would not recommend having a liquid paraffin heater in a greenhouse. It'd be nice if I could get like some sort of leisure battery set up with an electric heater in here, maybe, and a solar panel. Maybe I can think about that. But for the time being, I'm just going to go back to doing what I've always done, which is start the warm weather stuff off in the house on a mat with a grow light, and then bring them down here once the frosts have departed for the year, whenever that may be. But yeah, I lost my trail of thought there. I have no idea. I felt like I went off on a little bit of a rant about the paraffin heater, didn't I? But yeah, that's the only other thing I've got going on in here at the moment. Maybe some of them will survive, maybe they won't. We shall see. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the garden for now. I'm going to try and remember to do like a monthly video again. I was looking back over my channel the other day and I was like, wow, I was actually getting really, really good views. Like, people were really engaging with the videos, and I just kind of threw in the towel, and I feel really bad about it now because, like I said, we were getting really, really good views for this tiny, messy, silly little garden of mine, and I'm going to make more of an effort this year to be a bit more consistent with you guys. So I'm going to try and put out a video every month. If I can, I'll put out more than that. If there's any interest, I will put out more than that. But yeah, that's it. That's my little garden update. This is where we are as of the end of February 2026. Hopefully when I check in with you guys next month, we will have a lot more seedlings in here, and we might actually be eating some radishes and salad if we're very lucky, if I can keep the slugs and the rodents off of them. So yeah, I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around while I didn't post anything for last year. I'm very grateful to all of my subscribers who stuck around, and yeah, see you next time, guys.